It's just love. Source for International.
Welcome to the Source for Learning session on the topic of chemistry, that is metals and non-metals for the grade 7. Sourceford is one of the leading names help students in their life goals through schooling, sports and life skills. So let us start our class. So today we are going to learn about metals, non-metals, their characteristic properties and differentiation between metals and non-metals and classification of metals and non-metals. As we know, there is a difference between metals and non-metals. Metals and non-metals are different type of metals around us, like copper and aluminum, are good conductors of the heat and electricity, while non-metals such as phosphorus and sulfur are insulators. So these are examples of some metals and non-metals. Let's come to the characteristics. Good electrical conductor and heat conductors. Malleable, that means can be beaten into thin sheets. Ductile, can be stretched into wear. Possesses metallic luster. Opaque as thin sheet and solid at room temperature. For example, mercury. This is from your book. So first introduction part, we have already learned about elements in the lesson. Third lessons, every element has its own specific properties. Based on their properties, elements are broadly classified into metals and non-metals. Some of the common metals are iron, silver, copper, gold, lead, zinc, magnesium, aluminum and mercury. Some of the common non-metals are nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus and chlorine. Here you can see most of the non-metals are gases. There are some elements that do not take part in chemical reaction. See, do not take part in chemical reaction. Those are called inert gases or noble elements. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon are the noble elements. They are all gases. Thus, they are also called noble gases and inert gases. First come to the metal. We know that elements are the pure substances made of only one type of atoms. There are around 118 elements known at present. Most of the elements are metals. Metals are found in nature in both free as well as combined state. Major source of elements in the earth crust. Metal have 1, 2, 3 valency electrons. Most of the metals are reactive and occur in nature as compounds such as oxide, carbonate, sulfide and sulfate halides. Halides means chloride, fluoride and iodides. Some of the commonly known metals are iron, silver, copper, gold, zinc, aluminum, magnesium, mercury. Some metals such as gold, silver and platinum do not react readily and thus they are found in a native or free state are called noble metals. Then come to properties of the metal. In the beginning of the slide, I told you some properties of the metals only. At room temperature, all metals are solid except mercury, which are liquid at room temperature. Then metals are luster. Lustrous means having a shiny appearance. They look like a shiny. Metals are malleable, means can be beaten into thin sheets without breaking. And ductile means can be drawn into thin wires without breaking, except zinc, which is brittle, means breaks into pieces when harmed. Then come to metals have high melting and boiling point. Metals have high density, that is they are heavy substances. Metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. Metals are sonorous, that is they make a characteristic sound when they heat in the surface. Then come to non-metal. The number of non-metal is less than the number of metal. Non-metals have 5, 6, 7 valence electrons. Some of common Non-metals are nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, and chlorine. So, properties of the non-metals. At room temperature, non-metal exist either solid or gaseous except bromine, which is liquid. They are non-luster except graphite and iodine. They are non-malleable and non-ductile. The all non-metals except graphite have low melting and boiling point, but metals have high melting and boiling point. Non-metals have low density except diamond. They are poor conductor of heat and electricity except graphite. They are non-sonorous. They are usually soft, and except diamond, they are brittle. So these are the characteristic of non-metals. Then come to difference between metals and non-metals. So according to their characteristic and property, they are differentiated. First point, exist in metal. First point, it's exist in solid form at room temperature, except mercury and gallium. Exist in solid or gaseous room temperature, except bromine. Metal part, in the pure state, metals are shiny and lustrous. Non-metal are non-lustrous and except graphite and iodine. Metal except zinc, metals are generally malleable, but non-metals are non-malleable. Then except zinc, metals are generally ductile. So non-metals are non-ductile. Metal have high melting point and non-metal have no low melting point. Metals have high density and non-metals generally low density. So this is about the characteristic properties of metals and non-metal. There is some exceptions also there. So next class I will continue with this chapter. You can see this video in our YouTube channel and you can subscribe that one.